in my life. I've seen it all. And now it's time.
All right, so how did we meet? Remember I said earlier, I usually try to frame when I bring people, I try to kind of talk about how we actually, how we met. And how did we meet?
At your Walnut Creek meetup. Even though I didn't get a chance to speak with you,
Right. But it was through YBSF, the YBSF thing. Yeah. Everybody, you on YBSF too, Jackie? Yeah.
Yes.
Jackie's a camera girl, lady, woman, Black Girl Magic. So, little bit of background. Where are you from, Asia? Then we could talk about like how we all connected.
Well, I claim Bronx, New York, and Orange City, Florida, because I spent basically half and half of my life in both locations. So. Yeah. BX stand and Florida.
And Florida. Yes. So Asia had the family events at the pool party. Mm-hmm. That probably was what happened to my hip too.
Yes.
Okay, so YBSF, we met. We did a meetup. So I did a meetup. Just a little background too. I did a meetup because we live in Walnut Creek, California. There aren't very many people in Walnut Creek, California that look like us.
Yep.
And we on YBSF. It may have been somebody's looking for a black barber. And one of the guys, he came to the Friendsgiving. He, I think, responded, he goes to a barber in Walnut Creek. And I'm like, what? Barber, Walnut Creek, that means you black, and you in Walnut Creek. So I'm like, black people are here? So people started responding back, like, oh yeah, I go here. So then that made me think, like, okay, we got more than like 2 or 3 black people in Walnut Creek. So I did a meetup for all the black people in Walnut Creek, and that's where you and I met.
Right.
At the wine bar. And there were, would you say maybe about 20 people?
Yeah. About 15 people
20 people. Our friend that's off camera, she was there too. That's how you and I met. We realized we were both from Houston. That's how you and I met. And then you guys got bamboozled into hosting a Friendsgiving. And I was like, so first of all, I was like, I don't want to go because I don't know this person. I don't know who this is. And you go into someone's house, you don't want to, intrude. So when you open, Clark opened the door. But when you opened the door, I was like, Asia, yes, I do know you. So it was a little more comforting. Then met you at Thanksgiving. Met Uzo first, your husband first. Talking about he went to school in Houston.
Yes.
And then I mentioned Jordan to Uzo. He's like, my wife just came back from Napa with Jordan. I'm like, no, she didn't. Because I was looking for her to come to Friendsgiving as well, for Jordan to come. And then that's how when he introduced me to you, we all had the Houston and the Texas connection. Yes. So your background, because we're in Bay Area, but none of us are here from
Transplants.
We're transplants. Yeah.
Yes. My husband's a lot more into social media than me, so he got us on YBSF, and so I'm sure he was one of the ones corresponding. But I am from Houston, Texas, so I don't know if there's any Houstonians listening, but I'm from Trinity Gardens.
Hey!
TGB. I mean, if you're from Houston, you know what I mean. But it's right outside of 5th Ward, so if you know 5th Ward boys, then I mean that's basically right down the street. So
And you guys brought the lobster mac and cheese, didn't you?
That was me.
Because
Uzo was like, oh, we can just buy some mac and cheese. I said, boy, you don't show up at no black people house with store-bought mac and cheese, because that's a problem.
And that was like the main event, because I think y'all were like the last dish to show up. People were not getting until that mac and cheese came.
So wait a minute though. So this really just registered in my memory like a week or 2 ago that you were the one who brought the lobster mac and cheese. So where was this mac and cheese on Easter?
Oh, that's a good question.
And every other time we at your house.
I guess I gotta make that again. You're right. It's a lot of work. That's a lot of cheese grating. I mean, that's like a full process. When we came back from Napa, Uzo actually helped me. He started grating the cheese for me. So that was nice because otherwise we would have been really late.
Mine already shredded cheese.
She put love into that. It tasted
Yes.
good too.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
good. So next time,
He helped me out.
next time we gonna need that lobster mac and cheese. Put it on the calendar, Jordan. Okay, so transplants. What made you come to the Bay Area? What relocated you?
Work.
Work.
Yeah.
So work for you or work for
Well, work
she?
from Rashid,
Rashid.
right? Because I was 7 months pregnant.
Oh.
So I wasn't worried. Wasn't nobody gonna hire me. Like, you know, I'm ready to pop. But yeah, my husband's job.
Okay. And for you?
It was work. It worked out nicely because my husband, he rotates offshore, so he can kind of live anywhere. And so at work, we were going through reorg, and so they offered me my first leadership role, but they're in California. And so because it just kind of worked out with timing with what he was doing at work and what was going on with me, it worked out for us to move here. So
Both of you have families though. Like
Yes.
both of you have 2 children, a boy and a girl. 2 children, a boy and a girl. For people who are listening or watching, advice for like relocating, because you uproot your whole life. I mean, it's a new norm. You have to find babies, because at home you have that safeguard. You have family and friends for babysitters, and you have that familiarity of like even just like your dentist or your cleaners or your favorite restaurant, you know. For me, like going back to Houston, just driving down West Town, I'm like, oh, I'm home, you know, because you know where things are. Any advice for families who want to relocate? Because I hear a lot of people saying that if I was single, if I didn't have any children, I would move. But I think that's a crutch or an excuse not to get out of your comfort zone. So having children, to relocate your children, young kids, because your kids aren't old. Like how old is Victoria?
8 and 5.
8 and 5. And then
8.
so small kids. Any advice that you have? Any tricks, things that you have for relocating your whole family, uprooting everyone? Good and bad.
You know what? I'm still low key. I'm still trying to figure it out because all my family is East Coast, so it's definitely been a challenge. I mean, as far as like, you know, finding schools and all that, you know, that stuff is easy. That you're a parent, like you figure that out. Like that's nothing. I think more so when it comes to the social aspects of life, like, you know, your children's friends or even your friends, and you know, when you want to have a date night, having you know, you gotta find somebody you trust, you know, to bring into your home and be around your kids. So it can definitely, you know, be tough. I will say that I live in basically a white neighborhood. They've been so welcoming, like it's been nice, and they've been a large help. And they all have au pairs. So
Can you explain to people?
With an au pair, so basically it's a live-in nanny. Usually an international, a young student, because they're going to school too. You know, from overseas, and basically they come over and it'll be like a year contract, and you know, they live in and they take care of your children, and it's very cheap, very cheap. So my husband is like really trying, but I'm like, I don't know if I want somebody to move into my house, because you got to move differently.
Yes.
You know?
And I don't know if I want another woman in the house with my husband.
We were just talking about that yesterday. The au pair that we borrow from time to time, it was her 21st birthday. And so all the other au pair friends that she had, and she's from Brazil. She's a Japanese girl from Brazil, so it's really weird. But her friends were Brazilian. And when I say they
spicy,
body, yada, yada, I'm like, I don't know if I want that around my husband.
Exactly.
Baby, I trust you, but you a man at the end of the day. I don't know if I want to open up that can of worms.
Right.
I'm sorry, we got off topic. But I mean, definitely you got to find your community. You know, that's kind of where it starts, and people start, you know, recommending different services, and you know, they're always a great resource. So I was very thankful to have super nice neighbors who are very welcoming and like, you know, took us under their wing because we don't know anything.
Right.
So it's been a godsend.
Right.
Yeah, that's good. For us, it's been a balancing act. There's so many things that are very different here in the Bay Area versus Houston. I feel like in the South, or Houston at least, that it's a lot more catered to working families. So, you know, you could have a child care program that opens at 6 a.m. or 6:30 in the morning, which is actually, you know, if you have to be to work by 7, you need something like that. But in the Bay, that's not common. Most things don't open until 7 or 8. And so because of that, we ended up having to get a nanny. And that was my first time. And, you know, I am kind of old school, I'll admit, you know.
No woman in
I like, this is my space, and, you know, I'm very independent. That's how I was kind of raised. So it was very hard for me to have someone come into the home helping with our kids, like on a daily basis. And so, but that's been an adjustment. But you know, it's worked out. But what I would recommend is, you know, for you to take that next step in life, it does, you know, require you to take a leap of faith and get out of your comfort zone. So I wouldn't turn down a relocation just because, you know, you have a family situation. You just have to talk to your kids about it, right? About, okay, we're going to have this change. And the main thing for us is we wanted to make sure that they felt really comfortable and they made friends. And so we looked for schools, and we tried to do as many play dates as possible to make sure that they were good. And once they were good, then it was easier for us to feel good about the move.
I think so. Just talking about like the adjustment, and we talked about like friendships and stuff, and how different, and even really how much harder it is to make friends at an older age. Because when you're young, you're like, everybody's my BFF, you know. But when you're at a certain age, it's really harder to invite people into your space, because now you have a husband, and now you have children, and you're like, you don't want that Brazilian with the hot body trying to, you know what I mean? She coming to the pool party and all this stuff hanging out. So what's your experience? What has your experience been like coming to the Bay from your norm? Because you lived in Florida and New York all your life. Same in Houston all your life. In the same place all my life. So I have my same friends. I have my same family members, of course. You know, my friends since kindergarten. It's the same people. But then coming here, for me, by myself, which is a lot different than having someone that you can talk to at your home. So I went through a whole period of like isolation, maybe like 9-10 months, just trying to adjust. And which is probably why I'm so clingy to you guys, because I need people, but it's not, I don't bring people in that easily, because I am very guarded, and I think most of us probably are a lot more guarded than we like to put on. But being that I'm guarded, and maybe you are guarded as well, at an extent, you kind of have to be protective of your space and your kids and your husband and your family. What has made you accept like the group? Pretty much, let's just say the group, because there's what, 8 or 9 of us that kind of hang out on a daily, or 4, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of women, and then, you know, everyone has their significant other. But we've kind of come together like quickly and often. So what has been easy or difficult for you guys to bring in people that you don't know so closely and into your homes? Because we've been to everyone's homes. Well, excuse me, Jordan, you can't hear you. You're not on camera.
We're coming.
But I have, so give me my credit. Thank you.
It's so funny because me and Rasheed, we are like pining for friends. Like we were like desperate because it's hard. Like I didn't start liking the Bay Area until I found that community, and I'm so upset. So this month will make 3 years that we've been here, and I didn't find out about YBSF until last year. So like those
For those listening, YBSF is Young and Black in San Francisco, and it's the Bay Area, not just San Francisco, and it's a listserv. And so on the listserv, they promote events and talk about housing and social events and hot topics and meetups, and it's just a great community of like, was it like 3,000 or 4,000 people? Yeah, it's a great community of young Black professionals in the Bay Area.
So, you know, I'm upset that I found out about it so late, because like that would have been a game changer. So like the first 2 years was like really rough. It was like we don't have any friends, and so moving to a new place is like really hard when, you know, all you're doing is either, you know, tending to your family or working, and it's like that's it. So it's like, okay, this is life now. Like this sucks. Like, you know, you want to get out, or you know, whether that's for a drink or to have an intellectual conversation, like something, you know, just on a social level. And so, like, once that, like, was dropped in my lap, I'm like, okay, this is amazing. So, for me and Rasheed, we were, like, desperate for friends. So, even though, like, how the whole Friendsgiving came about, and, like, I was salty about that situation, like, I thank God that it happened, because I met all of you guys. So, like, and I feel like I got mine. You know, y'all are like my ride or die now. Hopefully nothing will happen to, you know, ever ruin that. So, yeah.
What about you guys?
I think we were kind of in the same boat, like looking for a circle of friends, because nothing against Bay Area people, because I've seen the YBL community like lash out when we say this, but you know, coming from the South, you go out, there's Black people everywhere. I mean, that is I think if you've grown up in the Bay Area, you don't realize how much it's not of a Black community there's lacking here until you go somewhere like Houston or probably Florida or Atlanta or something like that. I would think that a lot of Black people that are from the Bay would almost get a culture shock, because I got a culture shock coming here. And that, it was like, it's like the oddest feeling to walk around for like 3 or 4 days and you're literally the only Black person.
Yeah.
So it was, we needed some like Black interaction, and I don't know if that sounds really bad, because again, I do love everybody, but there's just some, it's just nice to see, you know, another Black family,
right? You
know, and it's good for our kids to see that, because sometimes they'll make comments to us like, "Mommy, there aren't any brown people here." Or, "Why are there?" Because they're used to being in Houston, where I mean, not that there aren't like mixed families in Houston, but that seems to be more of the norm here than in the South. And so it was a bit of a culture shock. So I just kind of going back to your question, I think we needed it. And I think with this group, it's a very diverse, dynamic group of women who all kind of bring a little something different to the table. And I think we have good energy together.
Right. Do you think, though, we're talking about like just the Bay Area and other Black people, do you think it could be, first, because our area, we're in Walnut Creek, we ain't gonna see a lot of, we ain't gonna see a lot of Black people.
Yes, you're right.
However, though, like we go to Target in Walnut Creek and you're like, hey, another Black person?
I do that.
You be so hyped, like in Target. So it happened to me and Jordan, like the same Black girls come up to us, like exchanging phone numbers, everything, the same person. That's when you recruit. That's when you need to find Black friends, just go to Target, because that's where they are. That's where you are. But do you think also, so of course we know it's the area. In our area,
definitely
there's not a lot of us in our area. But also in Oakland, because I think two things. I think moving from the South and not being in Oakland, you get this idea of what Oakland is before you even get there. And then I'm gonna have to bring Jackie in. And Jackie, I did meet Jackie on YBSL, but you get this idea of what Oakland looks like, and then you come here and it's like gentrification. You know what I mean? So do you think it also could be gentrification? Another point too, and I know I'm going from point to point, another point too as well, being on the West Coast, you talk about biracial relationships, I think it's a little more accepted on the West Coast than it is in Texas, for sure.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, like you said, it's not like it doesn't happen. I just think that, in my personal opinion, Jackie, you hop in, you're native, right? What are your thoughts, though?
So I would say my thoughts is, I miss old Oakland, and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I've been here my whole life. I spent some time in Los Angeles for a long time. Moved back, and it was a whole different world. So just as you're shocked, I'm shocked as well.
Yeah.
So it's different, but it's interesting to see how Oakland all of a sudden is starting to be taken serious. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Why wasn't it taken serious back when it was just us here? You know?
Yeah.
It was just the black people, you know, the black community. They didn't invest in us, but they invested now. Why? Because not just white people, everybody.
Everyone's coming, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
It's
I mean,
just-
I
it's
think
just
there's a lot of
interesting to see.
factors. A lot of factors. Because I came here thinking, like, everybody about to be Black Panthers up in this
I did too.
It's trying to come back.
And that's what excites me about.
What I do like from the appearance, I love that there's so many images of celebrating the black woman.
Right.
I think that that's really beautiful. And the only reason why I keep going back to the black woman, this is Black Girl Chat, but then at the same time, I feel like we are just underestimated so much. And it's very frustrating because I have an 8-year-old, she's a black girl, she is beautiful. I don't want her to grow up and the only images she sees is other women. I want her to be able to see that there's other beautiful, intelligent, hardworking black women in the world, you know? And so that's why it's important for me, for them to have those images, not because I don't, value other groups of people. I really do. It's just, I think we all do it, not trying to isolate ourselves from people, but we want our kids to have positive images of themselves.
Right. And you know what? I don't even like the fact, because I feel like we do it all the time as black people, as black women. We apologize for wanting to show positive black images. And other nationalities, races, cultures, they are proud of like their culture and their race. And like, for instance, people of Japanese descent, like, you marry a Japanese person, that's how it's going to be. You keep your culture in your culture. I think we're the only culture who apologize for wanting to keep our culture in our culture. If you're not okay with being, having a biracial relationship, then that should be okay. I mean, if it's for the right reason. So if it's not because of hatred or, racism, then that's completely different. But if you just want, like, I want to keep my culture, I want my children to know my culture, what's wrong with that? We're the only ones, I think, who apologize for that. There are other cultures who forbid their children to date outside of their race.
I think it's because as a group, we've experienced so much hatred that we don't want to feel like we're spewing it back.
Yeah.
But I definitely agree that we should take a lot of pride in it. I mean, I do. I love my black husband. And I think we have beautiful black children, and I'm very proud of my black family. And in all honesty, I feel when we're walking down the street in Walnut Creek, I think it's a wonderful thing because I think it's good for white, Hispanic, with Asian families to see a young black family that is presented in a positive image just like their families. Even though it's hard being in Walnut Creek, being in Walnut Creek. Yeah, love Walnut Creek, but it is odd sometimes, but there's people who will come up to us or just stare because it is so uncommon to see a black family.
Is it Barbecue
together.
Becky? Because y'all know Barbecue Becky from Lake Merritt. She lives in Walnut Creek. Yes, I'm so ready to roll up on her like pizzas rolling. I'm so ready. So she lives in Dub City. So look at Asia was like, where can I find?
Right.
She's probably that lady who came down on Sunday at the pool party. It was like, could y'all turn your music down? That was Barbecue Becky.
Yeah. We all have one.
Yes. But you know what though? Like, so one thing, I'm just talking about living in Walnut Creek or any suburb in America for that matter. There are not a lot of, because the area we live in is a prominent, area. But there is a need to, when I think one of you said it, there is a need to want to be amongst your people because there's a different type of energy.
It is.
So I just dropped Oakland. You just go you know what I mean, and then go back to the burbs and
yeah. And I mean, I work in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is very black, and we come to Oakland for events so the kids can have that experience and
to see brown people that
to see brown
people. Yeah.
So yeah, we get, but being able to have events with all of you definitely helps.
That helps, right? Yes. Right, and that's the whole point. That's what we were saying.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned before, I think it was at Victoria's party about Asia and Rashid being like the only like black family that your kids get to see. They're like black kids, and Clark loves Victoria.
Yeah, that's her big sister.
And Bisaya.
So I mean, I think it's great for us to have come together for that. And like you said, everybody brings something completely different. And we're all, even though like the three of us are from the same like area, we have like Asia and then Kirby, who isn't here, who bring that Southern California flavor. She's so chill and laid back.
Yes, she is. I love it.
So I think we all bring something completely different. But I think the benefit, although, we talked about being older and how hard it is to make friends when you're older, that's also a benefit when you come together because you're like, we ain't got no time for no BS.
Right.
Like, we're here because we really want to be here, for one. There's not going to be no drama because we don't have time for that. We got kids and husbands and careers and everything else that you're trying to do. So it's like we're coming together. We do our Bible study that we've been missing the last 2 weeks.
We trying. God knows.
God knows we're trying.
But we come in and we do things and talk about things that are not just about like love and hip hop type stuff. You know what I mean? It's like real conversations, and then sometimes it is ratchet stuff because it's ratchet and righteous. Right. So I think it's great, and it's been really weird for me to be able, like I said, to accept people. But I think it's the same thing. It's that me wanting to be with people and find friends and being able to connect with people, which I think honestly helped to open us up to receive it. And I know one thing that a commitment I made to myself when I moved here was like, I'm not going to do the same things here that I did back in Texas. Because at home, I can sit at the house all day because I am a homebody. Like, I can be in the house all day and I'll be perfectly fine. Mm-hmm. But you can't do that here when you're trying to meet new people.
Yeah.
So FYI, there's Art and Wine Fest in Walnut Creek this week.
Yes, I want to go there.
Okay.
But along the lines that you were saying earlier, I'll admit that it's always been hard for me to have friends because I always feel like you go all in and then you get hurt. Mm-hmm. And then, it's one thing about growing up in Houston, you've been around the same people for so many years. And sometimes you don't even know why you're friends anymore. Mm-hmm. It's just kind of like, they're your friend because you've known them for so long.
We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that in the next segment.
Yes.
But right now, I want to remind everybody that we are filming at the Hair Gym Academy and Salon in Oakland, California. The address again is 329 17th Street in Oakland, 510-740-9433. They not only offer classes, Paul Mitchell classes, their services include they have barber services, haircuts, styling, regular blowouts. What else do we have here? Root refreshers, okay. For some color, relaxers. I'm just kidding.
I don't get my hair relaxed, so you're not
Just kidding. Non-natural people, don't come at me. They also offer extensions, makeup services, and brow services. So go to their website, get your appointment, get some information, get some prices, pretty good prices here from what I'm looking at, and then just make your appointment with Mignon. Mignon Fernandez is the person that I met. I met her at church. We're church sisters in Christ. Walls, women of God. She is a part owner of the Hair Gym Academy and Salon, so holler at Mignon, and we'll be right back.
In my life, I seen it all.